How is everybody doing today? This is L.A.Kendrick with another tale from the vault of Would You Dare. Now, I'm just asking a question today, all right? Like we pretty much do every day. But what the question that I want to ask is, again, this is raw and unedited. I just get in, and if I have a thought, I just put it out there, right? Again, we're just thinking. We're just talking. We're just communicating. Now, I'm just curious. You guys ever wonder, you know how we see things nowadays? Can you guys imagine what, let's just say, the first man and woman to walk the planet, what they saw? You know how we always see stuff like witches and demons and UFOs and aliens and things like that? Can you guys imagine what these people saw when they first started looking up or started encountering some of the things that we say that we see? Can you guys imagine how traumatic that was for those individuals? Just think about it. Not knowing what they were, you don't have the language to describe it. All you have is like pictograms and images that you've drawn on walls from hundreds of thousands of years ago that talked about and tried to depict what you saw, because it was the best thing that you could actually do. You didn't know what those lights were in the sky. We know that they're stars and planets, but they saw other things. If we're seeing them now, right? Hypothetically, if we're seeing them now and we can't explain them, imagine how difficult and traumatic and traumatizing it was for them. Where they came up with their gods and what-if theories and boogeymen, right? Can you guys just imagine what that was like for them seeing this or seeing the things that we've seen? I find it kind of fascinating. And it's not out of the scope or the realm of thinking, we think we got it bad, and you think we go through a lot of stuff. Imagine what they were going through. I'm just thinking right now. Because you can see, like I said, you see the pictograms and the hieroglyphics and things like that with these with some of these cultures. And you see some amazing stuff, man, and what they were trying to identify and correct and give some description or give some kind of meaning to what they were seeing. And they did the best thing that they could. They did it the best way they could. They did it the best. They did what they could with what the knowledge that they had. Imagine some of the creatures and animals that they saw at those particular given times. Some they could explain, some that they couldn't. Can you imagine being, huddled up in huts, caves, whatever form of shelter that they had, but it might not have been enough. I think the one thing that they might have had was tribes that battled these things or battled things that we say we see now. Again, this is just a hypothesis. This is just me just going off the top of my head and just had a thought as I was doing a little bit of writing yesterday. And I'm just actually right now, I'm just coming in from training. Because like I say, physical fitness is very important to me. But I wonder, what do you guys think about that? The people, when they first started out of Africa and they were on the fields and they were hunter-gatherers and they were, crossing the vastness of Africa and that region. And like I say, just the things that they saw, the terrors that they saw. How did they explain dreams? What did they think dreams were? I wonder. So what do you guys think? You guys, anybody got any comments? Please leave the comments and tell me what you think, man. Again, I'm just having a thought, and that's what creative minds do, and writers do, and inventors do. You just think about things and you come up with ideas and try to come up with solutions. And that's what I'm doing now. How did they explain some of the stuff that they saw? Our ancestors, boy, they had it rough, man. I know we think that we have it rough, but they had it rough. very primitive weapons, very little knowledge of what they were seeing, if any knowledge of what they were seeing. Imagine seeing ghosts, witches, demons, aliens, monsters, and some of the animals were monstrous to them. I'm just brainstorming, I'm just trying to figure this thing out. We're just trying to give you some thought and provoke some thought. I'm trying to figure out what they were trying to figure out, if that makes any sense. Now, these are my thoughts. I'm just putting them out there. Because every one of us have seen things that we can't rightfully explain. It's like, okay, where'd that come from? We can't rightfully explain a lot of the stuff that we see. So again, with all of the technology and knowledge that we have today, in today's time, right? And we can't explain everything. Those night terrors, those things, the sleep paralysis, all of those things, man. Look at it, look at this cat here. If we can't explain what we're seeing 100% or 90% or 80%, I feel bad for our ancestors and what they had to see. Again, one thing that they had was community. They didn't have anybody trying to tell them what they weren't seeing, because the whole community would see it. There was no government saying, hey, that's not what you're seeing. You're seeing something completely different. You're making stuff up. They didn't have to worry about that. As a tribe, as a group, they saw what they saw, and they dealt with it as a community. Now that must have been beautiful. Seeing the Gigantopithecus and the saber-toothed tiger and other things that we would find just terrifying. They had to deal with it on a regular basis. So I'm just curious as to how they did it. I am just curious as to how they dealt with it. Because if we seeing stuff, they saw stuff. I guess the question is for the day, would you dare want to trade places with our ancestors and the things that they saw and the things that they went through? Would you dare want to swap positions? Just asking the question, just trying to provoke thought. And I hope that I've done a good job this morning. And this has been L.A.Kendrick in closing, you guys. All right. You know how we do. Make sure you check your homes, the closets, the dark recesses of your home. Make sure if you work at night or early into the morning when there's little light or little limited visibility, make sure you check inside of your car. Don't be lazy and check under your car, because you never know what's waiting in the dark to make you a story. Evil comes in all forms. Our ancestors can attest to that because of the things that they drew on the walls, trying to identify and log what they were seeing. Basically like our database and computer databases now. What our people had back in the day was no government telling them what they were and were not seeing. They tackled these things that they saw that were terrifying and spooky and dangerous to them. How many were abducted? What they did, they tackled it as a community. And this has been L.A. Kendrick. You guys fill in the rest.